Hey guys, welcome to DevOps School. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about Splunk.
But before we begin, let me inform you few things about us. DevOps School is one of the leading platforms which offers DevOps, cloud and containers technology training and certification programs for freshers and established professionals who wish to update and consolidate their skills in the dynamic IT scenario. We ensure that the training solutions are delivered by highly experienced domain experts with practical working experience in various verticals. Check out the dates and enroll with us for our upcoming batches. For more info, link and contact details are mentioned in the description below.
Yeah, so as part of setting up the observability, we need to set up infra monitoring and then APM monitoring and then log monitoring, then synthetic monitoring. You have to set up the RAM monitoring and security monitoring also. You need to do that. Security monitoring and finally network monitoring. So these all monitorings which we need to set it up as part of setting up the observability. So as part of this session, what we have planned, informant monitoring will do through Datadog. Okay. APM monitoring we will do through New Relic. Log monitoring will do through Splunk. Synthetic monitoring you can use anything like the Datadog or New Relic. And RAM monitoring also you can use anything. Security monitoring and network monitoring out of this context right now. So that's the reason I wanted to teach you Datadog also, New Relic also, Splunk also. Now you will ask one questions, why we need to learn these many tools? Can't we do everything using one tool? That's possible. That means if you want to use Datadog for everything, it is possible. If you want to use New Relic for everything, it is possible. If you want to use Splunk for everything, it's possible. So like that. But why we are learning and adding 3 tools? The reason is very simple. Because many different projects, different requirement, different specifications may come. So different tooling systems are there. So you may end up with any tools actually. It may be Datadog or New Relic or Splunk. So I'm teaching you all 3. Now next questions, if you ask me why Datadog you have chosen for infra monitoring, whereas Datadog can do every sort of it. So reason is very simple. Datadog is very powerful in infra monitoring. Datadog was architect and designed for infra monitoring and cloud monitoring. Now New Relic, why I opted for APM? Because New Relic initial release was designed for APM monitoring. Later on, they added all the remaining functionality. So if you say like who's the powerful tools in APM monitoring, New Relic. Same case with Splunk also. Splunk was designed for log monitoring initially, okay, and later on they added all the functionality on the platform. So yes, the god of infra monitoring you can say is like Datadog, APM monitoring, New Relic, log monitoring, Splunk, and that is the reason we are learning all this stuff. So today I'll talk about Splunk with a log monitoring. Now there are a few more tools I have with me, which can be used for the setting up the observability. That is, one is Prometheus, another one is Dynatrace, another one is App Dynamics. Okay, App Dyna. Okay, so these are the also popular solutions. There's one more tool which is called NoOps. Okay, which is there from last 15 plus years actually. There's one more tool actually, I'm just recalling this, Javix, not Zendesk, sorry, Javix. Okay, so yeah, there are so many tools in the market, but these are the market leaders right now. But you may end up with a project for the Prometheus also, Dynatrace also, App Dynamics also, and Nagios also, Javix also. So these are the world of observability. Are you able to understand this?
Sir,
All
are
of you?
we going to take Splunk from the security context today?
No, we have a separate sessions on this. So today I'll talk about the Splunk at the general use cases. Then there is one thing called Splunk SIEM. Okay, so that will be the
That,
separate sessions.
that is what I'm asking. So, are you going to take that soon in today's session?
No, that will be in a separate session.
Okay. So, in the subsequent session after this, or is there any different date plan for that?
No, that will be separate sessions. So we'll be notifying you. By the way,
Okay.
before SIM, we need to attend this session actually, because I'll tell you in this simple way. In SIM, we will teach you only the security related queries and all. So if you don't know the fundamental and intermediate level of Splunk, then it's very difficult to understand those queries. Very difficult. So SIM is all about the queries actually, understanding the different kind of threats and correlating with the queries. So I will include that in sessions. Are you from the DevSecOps background?
Yeah, actually, I'm from the security background. Yeah, so that's the
Okay.
reason why I'm more
So in
interested
that
in
case,
security.
whenever we'll have a session of SIM, I will inform you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Okay. So this today's goal is to learn Splunk. For what region? Log monitoring. Okay. So this is our goal for the day. So let's get started with it. So analyzing machine data with Splunk. So these are the things which we will cover as part of this sessions. We will understand the Splunk, the component, install it, feed some data, do some basic searches, best practices, and reports, dashboards, commands, and all stuff like that. Okay. So the question is, the first question we should understand is why log analysis. So simple thing, many people avoid the log analysis. Why they avoid the log analysis? They say, hey, we are getting sufficient data from the cloud. Sufficient data from the cloud means that CPU metrics, network metrics, and RAM metrics, and all the stuff, disk metrics. So they say, hey, what's the use of it? Our application is running fine, and we are getting sufficient infra metrics. Why should we waste time and all stuff like that? So this is a common mistake what we have in a project in our organizations. Second huge mistake you perform in a project, then when you say like we don't have a time for it. Why? Because your project is running well, you have lots of customers, lots of money is flowing in, so you don't care about it. And the biggest mistake what you do is when you ignore this process and suddenly you have a system failures. Okay, system failures may come from any time. Now when you have a system failure, you check the CPU, wonderful, RAM, wonderful, network, wonderful, application is up and running from the high front end, but something is failing. Now what to do? What to look for it? Where to find out the information about the system failures? Maybe your system is hacked and you never realize like hacking. See, hacking is not done in one day. Understand that. If you are assuming like, okay, let's say there's a electrical board of India, their servers is being hacked, and if you think that just immediately hacker got up and they attack on the machine, they hacked it within a few hours, and everything was cool, right? Everything was hacked within a few hours. It never happened like that. You know, for performing the hacking, it takes 6 months or 1 year, 2 years actually. Slowly the preparations get performed. The data is being fed into the network of organizations and all the stuff like that. So yes, hacking is basically, it takes time, but you get to know when the hacking happens, when the system has been compromised. So can we avoid this stuff? Can we avoid this stuff? Probably you might look for the help. Okay, you will realize that okay, you have done a good huge mistakes actually. Why? Because you were relying on the infra monitoring, which is green, everything is green, but still system is not working. So you will be in a mess, and then that is where you will start looking into the log. So the looking into the logs before hacking or on the day of hacking, it's you have to take a call on it. If you start looking in the log, okay, if you start looking in log in advance, you start analyzing the logs in advance, then probably this day, the hacking day, can be avoided easily. And that's where that we are focusing on the log analysis. It's not only for the hacking purpose. I'm just taking one of the scenarios. It can be many other areas also where the log analysis is needed. Now the question is, what is log? Okay, just a record. Okay, so whatever you do in the system, IT system, it generates logs. Let me put it in a very simple way. Applications run, it generates logs. System runs, it generates logs. You click on some website, it generates a log. You touch on your this iPhone or Android devices, it creates logs. You do whatever, you browse anything, it creates logs. Your applications generate logs. Your system generates logs. Your network generates a log. You generate logs. Your activity generates a log. So whatever we do, it's there in the logs. Okay, so record logs is nothing but a record related to whatever activities occurring on an information system, such as alerts, events, alarm, message, records, etc. So it's the data generated by machine, computer processing, and application and sensor data, anything which is log. Okay, so log is everywhere, right? Log account machine data is everywhere. In fact, you are generating it right now. You are connecting to the GoToMeeting, right? You are generating a logs. You are generating a logs. There are a lot of sources which we have a logs. You can be IDs, firewall, IPs, anti-malware software, proxies log, network infrastructure logs, server logs, databases logs, applications logs. So there's a lot of sources for logs. Servers and workstations, you can have a Linux log, you can have a Windows log, you can have a logs file, you can have a access logs, you can have a file system logs, network firewall logs, warnings log, alert log, IP address logs, database audit logs, configuration logs, schemas logs, tables log, queries logs, web transaction logs, clickstream log, locations log, browser logs, time logs, DevOps also test logs, log4j alerts, events log, code chicken logs, IoT devices, GPS, RF, TID, biometrics, and so on. So basically, it's everywhere. The logs are everywhere. Okay, it's everywhere. The question is, how can you gather that log? Simple. Please hear me out. How to gather that log, how to store it, and how to process it for the useful analytics information. That means how to get the right knowledge from that log. That is the Splunk is all about. So analyzing the log data, it is important. Why it is important? So if you analyze the log data, you can monitor the productions and debugging. You can check the resource usage. You can see the HTTP errors. You can see the slow queries. You can see that automated robots activity and security issues. So many things you can do when you analyze the log data. Okay, so lots of things you can do that. You can track your website performance and visitors. You can aware about the new threat on your applications the moment you start seeing the logs, because everything, no matter you are doing, genuine users on the applications are doing, or the hackers are doing, that is being processed through the logs actually. Okay, everything is processed through the logs. So situational awareness and new threat discovery, it's important. Getting more values out of the network and security infrastructure, extracting what is really actionable automatically, measuring security metrics trends in etc. Compliance also, You need to analyze the logs, incident response and all, you need to analyze the logs. So everything you can get it if you are analyzing the logs. Let's say I'll give you one simple example. So simple example, your applications which is mean for, let's say, India, which is for the India users. Now let's say some of the people who's accessing your application from outside, let's say China. So if you look at the front end, or if you look at the infra monitoring, or if you look at the APM monitoring, would you be able to find out which traffic is from China and which traffic is from the India? No. But if you look at the logs, you see the IP table source IPs. You can find out, okay, these many traffics which you are getting from China, this many traffics which you are getting from USA, this many traffics which you are getting from India. In the logs, everything. Now you can see that you can search all the logs which is coming from the China. Okay, source is China, and then see what they are doing actually, what they are doing, whether they are logging, whether they are registering, whether they are doing some actions, what actions they are doing on the applications. You can find out. Then you see that whether these actions is reasonable actions which they are doing on the applications through the logs. If it is not, you can block the IP address immediately rather than getting hacked after 1 year or 2 years. You know, is it there? Are they trying to do the, find out the weakness of your applications, or the trying to find out the ways to get into your applications or your servers? It can be a hell lot of things. Again, let me tell you here, the security is one of the areas which cannot be taught, only practice. Okay, only practice. So you can learn the tools, you can learn the best practices, you can learn what need to be found out, but ultimately your analytical skills, your algorithm in your mind will try to find out how can you find out the security issues in your logs. Okay, so yeah, this is important. So when I set up the Splunk and then I'll give you the logs, then you will say, Rajesh, what I'm going to do now, because I installed the Splunk, I set up, configure all the Splunk, I'm getting the machine data, maybe Linux or Windows, okay, and I have all this data in front of me. What should I do? What should I search? So it's like Google search, okay? It's very simple. It's like Google search. In the Google, you go and search something, right? What you need it. The same way, Splunk, you go and search for something which you need for which may be helpful for the projects, right? What you need. So I don't know that questions. I don't know what you want to look for the logs, which projects you are working, which kind of applications you are working, which kind of threats you are having. Everything I don't know. You need to find out the reason what you want to search for it. Splunk is just basically search engine you can consider at a high level. You have all the data stored. You need to go and search for the problems, through the Splunk. But what can you search? I don't know. I cannot tell you. But some of the typical things to get started with. So you can learn this the platform. You can look for this one. Like let's say you can find out the logs where the password changes has happened. You can find out the logs where unauthorized login has happened. You can find out the logs which have a login failures, which you can find out the logs which is a login event, new login event, which you can find out that if you have a malware detections, or you can scan the firewall if the boot open, close, whatever. You can also find out whether you have a DDoS attack or not. Okay, DDoS attack. Errors on the network devices you can find out. If someone has changed the permissions of the files and all, you can detect this. File integrity change can be detected. Data exported, someone is stealing your data and all, you can export, you can check this. Some new process has running or started or something like that, you can detect it. Process stopped, you can find out. Shared access event, disconnected events, new service installations, file reading, user accounts, modified registry value. So these are the typical things when you want to analyze the logs, probably you should get started. But at the end of it, what you want from the logs, you decide. You have to locate that. Are you understanding now, all of you?
Yes.
So let me ask you one simple question. I want to understand your analytical skills. So let's say there is a logs of Windows, and I want to know how many login failures are there. What should be your approach? I want to know how many login failures are there. So what should be the approach? So let's say you are searching the Google. Google is equal to a Splunk right now. So what should be approach? For to find out the, and in the Splunk you'll be having millions of log lines. So how do you search the login failures?
Check for the
Anyone? Huh? Yeah. Anyone?
There will be event codes for failure and such.
Correct. So there'll be one event actually, event ID. For example, for the login failures, Windows login failures, event ID, and this event ID you have to know 4625. And now you will come to know, okay, this is the event ID. So in my logs, whichever the Windows logs, wherever that event ID is this one 4625, I should get it. And after that, you can process filters and all. Okay, so yes, you need to know the system. What I'm trying to tell you here, you need to know the systems. Let's say you are analyzing the Windows log, you should know Windows in and out. If you're analyzing the Linux log, you should know Linux in and out. If you're analyzing the Apache log, you should know Apache in and out. Okay, so what should we look for the logs? I don't know. You have to find out. These are the some of the things which you can look for it. So next question is, what are the common fields in the logs? See, any logs you look at it, okay, some of the common fields you will definitely find it. For example, you will find the time, you will find the source, you will find the destination from where the protocol, ports, username, and events, attached type, byte exchange, and so on. So these are the common fields you may find it, okay? But by the way, you can introduce the new fields also based upon your extracting field skills. That means the regular expression you can do, and you can uh, find a field for that. Make sense? So that is the things you can find out. So now next thing is, what are the best practices for log analysis? So these are the best practices you need to consider. First one, pattern detection and recognitions. Pattern detection means I should detect the pattern and recognize that whether it's what kind of log it is. For example, you have Apache logs. Apache log has a certain pattern. Tomcat log has a certain pattern. Windows log has a certain pattern. In Windows also there are different types of logs are there. Windows event log, security log, applications log. If you go for this place, I don't know how many of you have got uh, time to look at this event viewer. See that here, you have a different kind of logs. See, these are all the Windows logs storage. In the Linux also var logs locations, if you go, you will have all the logs. So these are the different types of log which you have. So you need a tool actually which can detect the pattern. Okay, pattern, and then accordingly you don't have to do that, but tool itself will detect the pattern and help you to store the data in a different places. So the tool should be having that pattern detection and recognition capabilities. Then they should be also doing the normalizations. Okay, normalization means, I'll put it in this way. Let's say there's a Apache log, but it is from India and it is from USA server also. Now there are some certain server which is in India time zone. There are certain servers in USA time zone. Now you know that in USA maybe the PDT time zone or whatever is being used, and in India it may be IST time zone. Now the format of the data will be same, different, but the data will be coming from Apache only. So the tool should always normalize the data and convert into the one time frame, one format of time series. So that way the searches are better. The results of the searches are better. Okay, so that you can consider as a normalization process. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? All of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Third third best practice is what we have for the log analysis. Like tool should offer you tagging and classifications functionality. That means there are certain lines of the logs. Okay, you want to tag it with something. For example, let's say there is a one particular logs type pattern which you are getting from the dev server also, and you are getting from the app server also. Okay, or let's say dev environment also and production environment also, or maybe it can be region 1, region 2, department 1, department 2, all these things. So now how do you tag it? That's this line belongs to the production and this log belongs to the pre-production, or maybe a dev server or app server or DB server or this microservices or that microservices. How do you classify this? How do you, because all these are Apache log only, but you have to segregate as per your customized tagging. So the tool should offer. After that, the fourth one, the tool should offer you correlation analysis. Correlation analysis means correlation is a basically way to collect logs from different sources and system and sort meaningful messages that pertain to a particular event. This helps discover connection between the data not visible in a single log. For instance, if you have just experienced a cyber attack, correlation analysis would put together the logs generated by the servers, firewall, network devices, and other sources, and then find the message that is relevant to the particular attack. So what I'm trying to say here is correlation analysis is a very huge task. If you could get this done, wonderful. You are achieving the superb state of security awareness and all stuff like that. So what exactly you are doing here? Let's say there is a one call, there's one request to the load balancer server, okay, and then after that web server, after that application server, and after that database server. Maybe some payment gateway external services also has been used. So hacker is trying to access first load balancer, then web server, then app server, then database, and then different things. Now he will be doing different things on the different machines, different applications. Now how can you correlate? That means this request on database server is also correlated with this request on the app server, and this app server logs is related to the web server, and this web server related to the load balancer. Okay, so how this you have a logs at the different locations, different source are different. How can you correlate these logs so you can find out the complete picture? What are the activities this guy is doing on our server? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? All of you? Yeah, so that's called correlation analysis. So tool should offer you also this capability, but this is a manual work, by the way. Okay, and artificial intelligence. Understand that this is a very important functionality and best practices you need to have on tools. For example, you are generating millions of lines of code every minute. I repeat, every minute. Now, not all the logs is important for you. So tool should offer you to avoid the log which is not important for you. For example, info log. There's a different levels of log, correct? Info log, warning log, debug log, error log, all these things. So you want to avoid the info log. Okay, so how can you do that? So tools should offer you this functionality where you can ignore the artificial ignorance. So a machine learning process to identify and ignore log entries that are not useful and detect anomalies. Okay, so these are the 5 features your tool should be having it. These are the 5 best practices for log analysis. If you do manually also log analysis, you should be having it. If you are doing Splunk, using Splunk or some other tools, you should be having it. Make sense, guys, all of you? All of you?
Yeah.
Okay, so now guys, these are the phases of log analysis: collections of log data, cleaning of the data, convert into structured form, analyzing the data, and obtain the results. So these are the any typical phases of log analysis. Now, so yes, generate, collect, aggregate, normalize, alert, store, summarize, baseline, make conclusion, and act on them. These are the things we do Why?
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.
Hello everyone. If you would like to access the remaining videos of this playlist of 50 plus more tools which are coming under DevOps, DevSecOps, SRE, DataOps, GitOps, etc., kindly become our channel members by clicking on the joining button. You would have access to 100s of playlists and 1000s of videos lifetime access with this membership. Enjoy.